Manchester United gives out salaries of nearly £210 million per year. That's just under £4 million per week to players, some who deserve it, others absolutely not because they are too lazy to even deserve to be putting on the United jersey, whereas some of these players should be out of this club. Welcome to the hotspot. In this video, I'm here to give you my list of 3 players plus one bonus player to make it 4 who should be leaving Manchester United at the next available opportunity. At number 3, Marcus Rashford. Well, I hate it. The sentimental ones will say, Webb, you're unfair. Rashford was our best player last season. How on earth are you putting him on that list? Look, guys, it's sad that many Man United supporters love to live in the past. Guys, many players have played well, but when a player is not performing well, it's good you get rid of them so quick because one, it's high chances that certain players will not get back to their best or even give you their best if you haven't seen it. I think we've seen the best of Marcus Rashford at United from last season. After the arrival of Rasmus Højlund, Rashford has lost his confidence, and trust me, it won't come back. Not now. Not because he's a bad player, but because I don't believe or trust in his attitude. I don't compare him to Harry Maguire. Maguire fought. We never expected it to happen. I don't see that character in Marcus Rashford. He's a young boy earning way too much money for doing absolutely nothing. So for me, Rashford is the number 3 player who should be leaving Manchester United. I mean, he's a confusion. He has made it difficult for the manager to drop him. It took him a long time of us making noise for Eric Ten Hag to finally bite the bullet and say, you know, Rashford, you're a bench player. But how on earth are you paying a player £400,000 per week to be on the bench, yet you already have someone earning £350,000 per week not to be in the club? It can't happen. For me, Rashford should be leaving, and he should be leaving now because we can get some money from him, close to, I think, just over £80 million, and that's decent because not so many players in United can warrant even £40 million. So if you've got a Rashford who you see is going down, but some clubs will hope that they can revive his career, sell him when you can still get something out of him. But if we cling on to him, remember, we just extended his contract to 2028. Trust me, we are going to be stuck with a player who is not giving us enough, but has got a huge contract and is comfortable, earning £400,000 per week, living in Manchester. He's a Manchester boy. He wouldn't care, would you? If it were you? Number 2, my other player who should be leaving Manchester United. This should be an obvious one. Anthony Martial. Well, Martial, when he joined in 2015, we thought he was going to hit, but to be honest, for me, and my gut is always right, instantly I felt like he looks too good to be a good player. I think he was just trying to look too cool in Manchester United. I did not see the character of a United player, the heart of a United player in Anthony Martial. And it's surprising that it's nearly a decade later and he's still playing at the club with a contract that should run out next year in June. On the 30th of June, Anthony Martial will run out of a contract. If we can't let go of him in Jan, guys, let's stop paying him £250,000 per week to be lazy, come on the pitch and show no heart for the club, no love for the badge, no desire, but rather confuse managers from Louis van Gaal, who signed him and praised him, to Jose Mourinho, to all Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and now Eric Ten Hag, all these managers, David Moyes. I wonder what, actually, it's not David Moyes because it is Van Gaal who brought him, but I wonder what all these managers saw in Anthony Martial that he has stayed at this club up to now, still confusing people as a first team player, but never warranting a first team start or earning one. So for me, he's earning money for doing absolutely nothing. He is my number 2 on the list of players who should leave this club. The game against Bournemouth just sealed it. It just defined what I am just talking about, and that's what we have seen for all those years. Roy Keane said he's earning £250,000 to score 1 goal in 15 years. Goodness. My number 1. Before we get to number 1, I spoke of a bonus player, and I'll give it to you. My bonus player who should be leaving, Rafael Varane. I mean, if you're not talking to the boss, if he doesn't like you, if Victor Lindelof will be injured, but still you, a multiple Champions League winner, a World Cup winner who is fit, cannot even start in the team, then clearly there is no future for you at the club. However much we like Rafael Varane, clearly the issues between Varane and Eric Ten Hag are huge. Are you surprised? Varane was met with Cristiano Ronaldo, and Ronaldo fell out with Eric Ten Hag. Varane was there. So obviously, Rafael Varane could be one of the rotten potatoes that were affected by Cristiano Ronaldo. He has got his opinions about what Eric Ten Hag does. I mean, he has seen better managers than Eric Ten Hag. Obviously, as a big player, he will feel like he has got the confidence to go to the manager and question his methods. In fact, Eric Ten Hag admitted that there are a few players, senior players, who have come out and expressed their, opinions and disquiets about his methods of coaching. Would you be surprised if Rafael Varane is one of them? Obviously, that is part of the reasons why he will not play football again at Man United under Eric Ten Hag, under the ruthless Ten Hag. So for me, him earning £340,000 per week at United now for sitting on the bench and just looking cool again, I think he should follow his fellow Frenchman, Anthony Martial, out of Man United. Good enough. Saudi clubs have wanted him. Bayern Munich want him apparently as well. And the January transfer window is around the corner. So Varane, merci beaucoup, but peace, bro. See you. For me, that's the bonus player who should be out of the club. And number one, number one player. And many of you will call me out on this one. You will shout at me, you will attack me, but it's okay. It's my opinion. Give me yours in the comment section. Let me know of your players you think who should be leaving first, or whether you really think that all our players are good and it's the manager who should leave. Let me know what you think. But in my number one position, it's none other than Scott McTominay. Guys, what a fraud Scott McTominay is. Now, I know, like I said, many of you will be thinking, what did Webb say? This boy scored 2 goals against Chelsea. He came off the bench and scored the important goals against Brentford. Guys, that's the exact problem we've got with McTominay. McTominay has failed to do his core duty, and he has confused the life out of Eric Ten Hag. Poor guy has got a bunch of players who look like they are not motivated to play for him. And there is this Scott McTominay, poor guy, who will pull out some magical goals from nowhere, and he's confused him. So McTominay has made it so difficult for Eric Ten Hag to make sober decisions when it comes to selecting his squads. Why? Because you've got a Scott McTominay who can pull up with 2 magical goals that can save you out of nowhere. Yet, for the most part of his stay at Man United, he's faltering left, right, and center. He's not defending, yet his job is more defensive than attacking. We do not pay Scott McTominay £60,000 per week to score goals. He's not a striker. We signed Rasmus Højlund for £72 million to score goals. I'm not saying that he should not score them, because every player is supposed to score goals. But if you're scoring the goals and you're not doing what you're supposed to do, and we are the weaknesses of you not doing what you're supposed to do is costing us goals, then for me, I don't care about your goals. I mean, just do your job. So for me, Scott has made it difficult for Eric Ten Hag to start Kobe Mainoo regularly, because he feels McTominay has got to be in there. But of course, Bruno has to be there. But then we need a proper holding midfielder. But then you think about it and you see a proper confusion that Scott McTominay is causing to Eric Ten Hag because of his goals. McTominay reminds me of Frank Lampard, that he's a holding midfielder, but he sort of is trying to confuse the weaknesses he has defensively with the goals he scores. So the goals will cover up for his defensive weaknesses. But unfortunately, for Frank Lampard, he had the balance. Whereas he was not so defensively good, yet he's a sort of a deep holding midfielder. He was a good ball passer. He was a technical player. He had presence on the pitch, and you would see him, and he scored so many goals and crucial goals. So he was scoring more goals than strikers. So it made sense for Frank Lampard. But also, Lampard had a proper balance because he was playing in the team that had solid holding midfielders like Michael Essien covering him up well. For United, we need to be playing with 2 holding midfielders, and one of them is a pretender, Scott, but he has to keep starting at the expense of a player who should be solving our problem in the back. So what do you do with such a player who's giving you confusion? Bite the bullet, sell him. Good enough, because of his goals, Scott McTominay's value must have gone up a little now. I think we can negotiate for more than the 30 million we are hoping to sell him for in West Ham. I think 35, I think, is what we are hoping for. West Ham was giving us a little less than that, and we said no. Well, maybe now his value, and giving credit, has gone up a little. But boy, Scott McTominay is the first number one player now who should be leaving because he's blocking opportunities for other players who I think can do better for us. Obviously, Kobe Maino, most important player for us, but also maybe Mason Mount as well could give us better than Scott McTominay when he returns and starts training fully fit for Manchester United. Hotspot, subscribe. My name is Webb. That's my list of top 3 plus 1 player who should be leaving Manchester United. What do you think?